Come, let us recite from the Great Garuda in flight. That rhymes. And then savor effortless meditation. Again, even though the 6 classes of beings do appear, one should recognize this as the original path. Those endowed with compassion who pursue desires may also pursue perfect purity by any means whatsoever. Again, even though the 6 classes of beings do appear, one should recognize this as the original path. So the 6 classes of beings is a method that institutional Buddhism, that patriarchy, uses in an effort to frighten people into doing what they think is the right thing. Starting from the bottom up would be the hell realms as a metaphor of anger, the hungry ghost realms as a metaphor of greed, the animal realms as a metaphor of dull-mindedness or ignorance, the human realms as a metaphor of fear, the demigod realms as a metaphor of jealousy, and the god realms as a metaphor of pride. One moment, if you please. From the point of view of matriarchy or proto-Buddhism, we could think of it this way. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever hate we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as mirror-like wisdom. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever greed we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as discerning wisdom. Think of it this way. When during our inhalation we notice our own ignorance, as we relax into our exhalation, that same ignorance seems to mutate into all-pervading wisdom. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever jealousy we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into all-accomplishing wisdom. And fifthly, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was melting into equalizing wisdom. This serves merely to remind us that whatever we notice during our inhalation is transformed in the crucible of our exhalation. And the method is, ironically, easy and blissful and effortless. Noticing and relaxing in harmony with our autonomic nervous system, in sync with our inhalations and exhalations, is the original path. Again, so I'm returning to the root text. Of course, that reminds me of the Beastie Boys song, "How you gonna break it? Gonna break it root down." Okay, so again, even though the 6 classes of beings do appear, one should recognize this as the original path. Those endowed with compassion who pursue desires may also pursue perfect purity by any means whatsoever. We are wired in such a way, and to illustrate this, I'm going to switch from the teaching text to a set of visual aids. Both this text and the visual aids are available for free downloads as PDFs. So let's see. I get to push the right button in the right sequence. It pushes the right button in the right sequence, or it gets the hose again. So here's a bizarre irony. When we overwork and exhaust our prefrontal cortex, we excite our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. That's a bummer, but here's the cool thing. When we vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly cooperate with the spinal cord or our autonomic nervous system, not only does it calm our amygdala, not only does it help us to access peace, but it gently stimulates our anterior cingulate gyrus, which functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, the root of both love and compassion. And so by simply cooperating with our autonomic nervous system and using the practice known as mindfulness and meditation, we automatically become more empathetic. We have evolved to reproduce, and we have very strong impulses, we have very strong instincts. When we ethically indulge a desire, whether it be sexual or non-sexual, it's more than inert. It can actually help us on the path. Any pleasure we notice during our inhalation feeds our wisdom and our love during the exhalation. Whether it's the pleasure of beautiful sights, melodious sounds, pleasurable sensations, fragrant scents, or delicious tastes. Whatever we notice during our inhalation actually can propel us on the path. Asceticism is not a requirement, and if anything, it is an obstacle. So let's return to this mid-morning's teaching text, assuming that I push the right buttons in the right sequence. Those endowed with compassion who pursue desires may also pursue perfect purity by any means whatsoever. So as we inhale, we have desire and we have purity. So let's take a deeper look at that right now. The essence of mindfulness is simply to notice mind's antics, to notice our pleasures. So when we hear a cat purr, when we feel our dog kiss us on the cheek, to notice them. And the easiest way to notice them is to silently and mentally recite the verb watch each time we feel air enter our nostrils. Meditation, as I mentioned previously, is simply, well, let me put it this way. Every time we exhale, we are wired to automatically access the end bits of our spinal cord, known as the parasympathetic nervous system. It has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. And if you like similes, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. Meditation is simply relaxing into mind's empty nature and is most expediently performed by silently and mentally reciting the verb rest each time we feel air leave our nostrils. We pursue desires effortlessly as we notice them during our inhalation. We pursue perfect purity effortlessly by relaxing in harmony with our exhalation. Now, if you're really clever, you might say, hey, isn't noticing and relaxing, don't those things require effort? Here's the irony. We are already wired to do those things automatically, thanks to our autonomic nervous system, during each inhalation and during each exhalation. Our only task, only choice is simple. Do we continue to exhaust ourselves, actively competing against our own autonomic nervous system, or do we passively cooperate with it, thus ensuring the heightened efficiency of the remaining functions of our central nervous system? And the epitome of irony, the most efficient way to vulnerably cooperate with our autonomic nervous system is just to silently and mentally recite the verb watch as we inhale and the verb rest as we exhale. Having completed our opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Ahsoka Tano mid-morning. Let's try this again. It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday mid-morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. Now, I think the camera will work better if I put a ring light on right now. So I'm going to reach for that bad boy and put it right here. Okay. So, this is the Dzogchen Sende Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this mid-morning's live stream, let's simply meditate as we feel the air enter our nostrils. Let's silently and mentally recite the verb watch. And as we feel our air exit our nostrils, let's silently and mentally recite the word rest. Now, you're not alone. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 5 minutes or so. Oh, I forgot a step. Here's something that might be helpful. I'm going to tap button 9. Our mind lives in our body. And so cooperating with our body can help our mind to meditate. And so during the first half of this mid-morning's meditation, we're going to use a passive form of energy work to optimize our contemplative experience. This energy work does not require faith, it does not require belief, it does not require visualization. It requires simply a passive recitation. So if you're watching along with me, if you are digitally sharing my desktop with me or my laptop with me on the Tube app, you'll notice there's an image in the middle of the screen. The statue represents you and me and everybody who's meditating. And the painting of the tantric couple overhead simply reminds us of the teacher or the teachings. So thrice we can chant, Lama, come to this crown. And simply by virtue of playing with words, our energy will shift. Many decades ago, when I began studying energy work, I was explained to me, maybe you've heard this too, that energy follows intention and intention follows words. So when we use words, we're not necessarily appealing to a real or imaginary celestial entity. We are guiding our own mind-body experience together. Lama, come to this crown. Lama, come to this crown. Lama, come to this crown. And now let's practice. Another thing that could help is to rest the great knuckle at the base of your right index finger upon the tip of your left index finger, palms up in your lap. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions about once every 5 minutes or so. To begin the second half of this mid-morning's meditation, we're going to energetically shift gears. A sutric way of doing that would be to silently and mentally recite the verb watch each time we feel our chest swell, and silently and mentally recite the verb rest each time we feel our chest sink. Let's momentarily or briefly explore a tantric version of the same phenomenon. If you are watching along on the Tube app, you'll notice an image in the center of the screen. The statue of a tantric couple represents the meditator, and the painting of a blue tantric couple superimposed upon that simply represents the teacher. Now, it's not our job to believe or visualize. Most energy work teachers remind us that energy follows intention, and intention is led by words. So let's simply recite the 6 syllables Lama blend with this mind together. Lama blend with this mind. Lama blend with this mind. Lama blend with this mind. Additionally, it could be helpful to rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger. Upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever boredom or interest we might have noticed during our previous inhalation simply melts into the experience of perception. What we feel is of little consequence. As long as we notice and relax, we will benefit from it. Regardless of how glorious or grotesque it might be. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's afternoon meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.